My name is Jason Cleveland. I'm the founder and CEO of Obodo. And we empower small human service organizations to really focus on the relationships, which is why they got in the business in the first place, instead of the minutia of running the day-to-day minutia of running an organization. So over the last several years working in this industry, I've come to believe that it's just become too hard to help people. There are too many barriers set up in the path of those who want to serve between the people that do the service and the people that they want to serve, right? And to tell that story, I want to step back in time just a little bit. To 1999, I stood before a judge. I was sentenced to 5 years in the Missouri Department of Corrections. And at that time, there's no way that I could have known that I'd be standing here on this stage right here talking to you today. I wouldn't have known that I would have been a founder of a tech company. I wouldn't have known that that I'd be reunited with my family, that I'd be the person I am today. I didn't know that. Like the other 2 million people who are currently incarcerated, the 75 million people who have some sort of involvement with the criminal justice system, I was concerned with only one question: what's next? You see, I knew that I wanted something different. I was 23 years old. I was told I would never see my daughter again. I was told that I would never amount to anything, and I felt just completely trapped and overwhelmed, which led me in turn to the offices of these small human service nonprofits that I'm talking about, right? These reentry organizations, these people that were going to help me to rebuild my life, to find employment, to find housing, to do all this work. And the first thing I was met with was a pile of paperwork. Right? So I was asked the same question by 3 different people in 3 different ways on 3 different forms. It was shuffled here, it was shuffled there, and it created a barrier between me and the people that wanted to serve me, right? They wanted to serve me, I wanted to be served. Like, what's the issue here, right? So luckily I made it through that barrier. So many people don't. But what I found is I really enjoyed this work. So I became a volunteer. As I continued down my path, I became a professional. As I continued down that path, I became a consultant. So now I'm on the other side of that desk. I'm on the other side of the paperwork, and I'm like, hey, no, we have to have this paperwork. We have to secure our money. We have to, we've got to have this documentation. Come on, people. And so it's kind of presented this opportunity for me. I was like, well, wait, who else has this problem? And so we started digging, and we found that organizations that serve less than 200 people a year, have less than 30 employees, and have less than $2 million in annual revenue are pretty much living the same life that our clients are living. We're in a perpetual state of crisis. We're constantly putting out fires. We're constantly trying to figure out how to line up the next funding round, how to solve this problem, how to make this happen. And there are about 285,000 of these organizations nationwide. And so you can imagine the impact that this perpetual state of crisis causes. So I want to uncover the reason why we're in this perpetual state of crisis. What I found is that less than 30% of these organizations are using formal systems. They're constantly reinventing the wheel. They're constantly saying, okay, we got this new funding, we got to make new forms. Hey, we got this new situation here, we got to do something new. It's always something new. We're never allowed to actually scale our organizations and grow upon experience and make intentional decisions. Less than 10% of these organizations are using software effectively, if they're using software at all. The majority are using a series of spreadsheets, Post-it notes, and chicken scratch to report out on their grants to secure that money to keep the lights on, to keep things moving forward. And less than 5% are using some sort of documented training and onboarding for their staff, their clients, and their volunteers and mentors. And so I started thinking about that. Man, I was like, wow, that's pretty intense, right? What does that cost? So the cost is huge. Of these organizations, we're looking at like 30% turnover in staff, right? And that's the middle. We've seen turnover as high as 60%. So that means it's a completely new staff every 2 years, right? And if we don't have that training and onboarding, if we don't have that consistency through the organization, of course we're going to be operating in crisis mode all the time, right? So if every one of those organizations misses out on $100,000 a year in funding, which they do, I promise you, that's $28 billion a year in missed funding opportunities. That means 8 million people are not going to get the critical services that they need to rebuild their lives. So I built Obodo. So Obodo, you could think of it like Salesforce, except cheap and easy to use. Oh, thank you. I thought that might land. Again, it's a software platform. We start with the profile. Everything is front and center. All the data you need is in one place, easy to get to. We've got this unique tagging feature that allows you to find the information you need typically within 1 to 3 clicks. Analytics. So being able to go to the back end and really dig into and visualize the data to understand the organization, to make intentional decisions as we walk through the decision-making process in our programs, in our organizations. And then the learning management system. I mean, this is ed tech after all. So being able to bring in libraries of evidence-based models, to implement them quickly and seamlessly, to add your own content, to train your volunteers, your mentors, and everything. So let's talk about what we've done so far. Last year, we launched in 11 cities, 3 states, and served nearly 3,000 people. So that's like huge impact, right? This year, 16 cities, 5 states, and we'll serve nearly 11,000 people. Like, this is the impact I wanted to have when I got into this line of work. But the real number is that we've helped to secure more than $2.5 million in new funding for these organizations. Because we're able to make intentional decisions about the work that we're doing, we're creating new opportunities. So we've been recognized. We're from St. Louis. We've been recognized locally, regionally, nationally. We're part of the Unlock Futures incubator with Mr. John Legend. It's been an incredible opportunity. But at the end of it all, we're really about making it easier to help people. Remember, we started with this idea that it's too hard to help people. Well, we're making it easier with the tools, training, and the technology. So I want to invite you along on this journey. Right now, we're looking for partners. We're looking for those small human service organizations that want to partner with us to test our application in the wild, to become those next partners that help us to implement this and scale it up. Obviously, funding is always great. If you want to talk about that, we're happy to do that. But follow us on our journey. We got all the social media stuff and all that. And there's an email address if you want to get in touch. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.